Hi, my name is Joni Ormsbee, and I'm a university math professor. And one of my goals is to help prepare students for calculus with confidence. One of my biggest surprises as a college math professor is that many students who earned A's and B's come into calculus and still struggle. And it's usually not because calculus is too hard. What I find is that the real problem is they come in and they have gaps in some of the foundational skills that they learned either last year or even the year before. So let's take a look at what those might be. So with calculus, you have some foundational skills, and one of those that I find lacking is in some algebra skills, then the idea of functions and what to do with them, and then some trig. Now in the algebra, for instance, quadratics, I may give them this example, for instance, and I set that equal to 0. If they don't recognize that's a quadratic, then they're going to have trouble factoring that. And this would be the factorization. And then they would set each factor equal to 0, etc., and solve for x. And so x would be equal to 2 and 3. Functions, for instance, suppose I give you the function 2x squared minus 3. And I ask you to evaluate f of 4. A lot of students struggle with that, and so I try to explain to them that a function is simply a machine where it has an input and an output, and the output comes from an action on what you put into it. So for instance, if I put in 4 and I use this function, I'm going to take 4 and square it, then I'm going to multiply by 2 and then subtract 3. So that's going to be 32 minus 3, which is 29. So f of 4 is 29. So that's one thing that I see in functions. Then in trig, the unit circle is a big deal for them to know well, almost like their multiplication tables. I use that analogy. Multiplication tables in elementary school is like your unit circle in college. So the sine of 90 degrees, which is pi over 2 in radians, that would be 1. Or maybe I ask the cosine of 30 degrees, which is pi over 6, and that would be the square root of 3 over 2. So those are just a few prerequisite skills that make calculus feel harder if they are not familiar with those. And we go into more details in my calculus class that I teach in the first week. But if they know these skills coming in, they come in with a lot more confidence. And again, these skills are not calculus. They're foundational to calculus. And if students come in already, they're much more confident. So every fall, I have hardworking students that come in and are struggling to remember these functions and algebra and trig, and they have to spend hours reviewing before they can even get to the calculus, and it's preventable. So what I'm going to offer is a free calculus readiness assessment. You can find out if your student is ready for calculus this fall. Identify strengths and hidden learning gaps. You get a personalized readiness score from me. I actually score their readiness assessment myself. You'll discover these prerequisite skills that need review, and you can enter college math with greater confidence. So please scan the QR code below to download your free assessment or go directly to my website, and I look forward to hearing from you.